Yes, nobody wants to really watch an unboxing on some of these construction videos, but let me tell you, if you think you're just going to go out and buy something and hang it up, it doesn't necessarily work that way. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Matt, and I'm a DIYer. I'm building a 30-foot by 50-foot garage and going through just making some videos of this stuff, how to do this stuff, how to make it as efficient as possible, and some of the errors that I've been running into, some of the mistakes that I've been making, and hopefully some of my mistakes can help teach you guys the right way to do it so that you don't waste time on your project at home. You tuned into this channel because we are getting ready to install these outdoor lanterns. I'm using these to flank each one of my garage doors. I have 2 garage doors and I want 3 lights going across the front. And this is the brand that I went with. This is just from a local big box store. I believe this was a Lowe's product. And I ended up getting the front and back door lanterns to match this. They're just a little bit more compact. Let's do the unboxing here real quick. I know you guys are probably wanting to get right into the construction and how to, but let's take a look at what it comes with. That way you got an idea and you know what you need to look for to make sure you don't make mistakes. All right, here we go. So this is the lantern, and it comes with the mounting bracket, which right here, this silver piece. This is going to get attached to your mounting block. Now, the mounting block that I chose to go with was this style here that is for a new construction. Has the flange on it that you nail to your Tyvek. Cut a little slit, tuck that up underneath on your Tyvek so that when the rain comes down it washes over the top and then down to the ground and doesn't penetrate behind the mounting block. When you buy these from Home Depot or Lowe's, this is all you're going to get. And this is not going to suffice to hold this up against your house, because it's thin plastic. There's nothing to screw into, so you cannot just use this mounting block to hang a light. I believe this is probably around the 6-pound light, somewhere around there. But these mounting blocks are for aesthetic purposes only. What you have to get in addition to the mounting block is the J-box. I don't know why Lowe's and Home Depot don't sell these together on the same shelf. I had to special order this, and it's a pain in the butt because it takes more time to do. But it comes with a cover if you want to use a square J-box in the back. I know I got one more piece floating around. Where'd it go? There it is right there. You do run into it though. You guys know what I'm talking about when you go to work on something and all the pieces aren't there, but these spacers go in the back. And you do 4 of them on all your corners. And that allows you to position this J-box to the right depth so that you don't have the slack on the front side of your box that causes it to really get sunken in when you go to start tightening some screws. See how that kind of bows in? When you have this mounting block back here with the face back on it, it's going to look something like this. But even these have to get cut out so that you can get access to the other screw that's behind here. Now that's in my case. You might have a different mounting bracket or something where these 2 is all you need, but I actually need to be able to access the 2 other screw locations. So that'll get pushed back, and then that's what gives you the rigidity of this mounting block so that you have something to screw into. If you didn't have this J-box back here, you cannot hang a lantern off of just this molding. Power coming into a switch that's going to come down. This is going to be the lights on the outside of the house, garage. This one's going to be the dusk to dawn light, so that if you don't want it on all the time, that we can come down here and cut power to that. And then I continued running power down to an existing outlet or an outlet that I wanted in this position so that I can hook up a air compressor and a few other tools that I have. It's going to be 20 amp circuit, double gang box, 12-2 wire, running up to 3 lights, one on the garage door over on that side, and then another one over to my left. This is what they look like coming out. 3 holes, you think, yes, that's going to be the correct position. You're not just going to cut out the center one and say, okay, it's going to be centered on the wall. Because when you look at the way it mounts, it ultimately comes down to where your screw is on the side. And this one's probably in this location, so it's actually about 1 or 2 inches higher than center. And if you come over here, if you think, okay, 1 or 2 inches higher, I'm going to use this one, well, no. You actually need to measure and create your own hole in the back like I did on this one. You can see I didn't use either one of those pre-knockouts or cutouts that they had. I did use a circular saw, 4 1/4, I believe is what I'm running on my saw right now. But I actually had to split the difference of the ones at the top and go just a tad bit higher, I believe, than where these intersections are right here. You always wonder, well, do I need a circular box? Do I need a square box? What do I need? These, since they're getting mounted on the back of on the side of your wall, your building, all you have to do is drill a tiny little hole in the wall and push your Romex through it. This is all I did. That mounting block is going to mount on the adjacent side, the back side of this on the outside. You can put a collar here to protect your Romex. I may or may not do that. I have one, so I'm probably going to end up doing it. But push your Romex through, it'll stub out here. You mount your black J-box, I'll call it, from Novik, and then your white mounting block goes over top of that. Let's start installing it so you guys can follow along. All right, we finished running our wire down through the fire blocking. Feed it through here. Send it to the outside. Okay, there's what we got. We're going to have 3 wires in this junction box. Power coming in. There's a spider, that's lovely. Get rid of him. Power coming in on one of these, and then power going out to the left light, power going out to the right light. We're going to cut all these at the same length. You want 5 to 6 inches. Strip the insulation on all of them. We're going to tie all the whites together with the jumper, all the blacks together with the jumper, and all of the grounds are going to get connected. I know that I have enough Romex on the outside of the building, so in order to prevent these wires from moving while I'm working on it, I like to go ahead and staple mine to the stud. You need about 1 inch coming inside of your junction box of insulation. Slice down this. Okay, we got our Romex cut. We're going to go ahead and separate these wires and get all of this paper and insulation off. All of these are going to be color coded. It's very simple, whites, blacks, and grounds. Next thing we need to do is get our J-box mounted up here on the wall. Take a look at your knockouts and where your Romex inserts are. Figure out where exactly you want those wires to enter this box. I'm going to go ahead and do probably the large knockout. up here at the top. Looks to be about 1.25 inch hole. Get that knocked out and get these wires put in. This box here is going to take 4 mounting screws, 1 in each corner of the tiny little black box. This tool that I have here is made by Klein Tools. They're a good brand. I can't complain about anything that I've ever got from them. Okay, all of our wires are stripped. I'm just going to run a jumper off of all these. That way I only have 1 wire coming through here, and I'm not trying to take up all of this space with this bundle of wire here. So essentially, all of these wires are going to get tucked in. This is going to be the only one coming through this box in the back. And that's going to save all this room so that I can get the wall lantern wires in here, and all of this stuff can be hidden back in here. Let's go ahead and start tying all these together. I'm going to grab some Wago connectors and we'll start getting it going. First thing I'm going to do is get my whites tied together. 1, 2, make sure they're in good. 3, okay, and then the 4th one is this one. There we go. Now we can tuck those in and get those out of the way. You notice they're all a different length. So try to fold them up into the box so that they are roughly the same length and that you have an easier time connecting your wires. And you kind of want them all folded the same way so that it just kind of keeps your box organized, keeps everything flowing. Okay, I like to do the shorter ones first because they don't give you, they'll give you a harder time if you're trying to do them last. And 12-2 wire, of course, is a lot harder to work with than 14, so keep that in mind. There's no way that all of those wires would have been able to fit into this other box. I guess it's possible if you got the patience for it and you want to fold everything like that, but right now what we're doing is we're pretty much got the power coming in and power going with the switch. Power is going to be running to the wall lanterns on each side of the door. So we'll do the short one last because less room to work with. We're going to push these connectors up in there. These are my hot wires. Your power comes in on the black and returns to your panel on the white. I'm doing a single pole switch, so the only thing that gets connected to your switch is a black wire. The whites all get tied together in the switch box, double gang box. Okay, now to kind of keep the water from, in case water does get in there, you're going to have water runs down. I'm going to keep all of those facing up so that one extra precaution to make sure that the water doesn't penetrate our Wago connectors. Don't forget to add your spacers in the back. Let's get those put in. Pull it through. There we go. We got about 1 inch in there. Get this pushed back up. And now it's going to be centered right where we want it. We got our deck screws. Go ahead and get these started. That looks good right there. I'm happy with that. Go ahead and And these don't have to give it a twist. There's one. Let's do the next one. Okay. There's where our tabs were cut out. It exposed the other mounting bracket, if you will. I'm going to unpackage the light and grab the mounting block, and we'll look at a few things on that. You see the issue right here? Do not do that. Do not cut out just the center hole. Make sure you pay attention to your light fixture and where this screw is, because these mounting brackets get mounted right there. So this is what you take your center off of. Don't just look at the back of this and think, oh, that's the center, I'm gonna do that. Know what your light looks like, know where your mounting bracket is, and that's where you're gonna cut your hole. So what you would do on this light here, you lay your mounting block on top, bring it over to the edge, center it, make sure you have it centered the same distance here as you do the same distance here, and then come straight up from where your screw hole is and make a mark with a pencil. Something like this. You make that mark. Okay, we have our mark right there. You lay your square across that and then draw your line this way. Get your center mark this way. This is 6 across, so you're gonna do 3. Come down, draw your mark at 3. Gives you a little crosshairs, a little X. That's where you put your circular hole cutter and cut that out. You are going to want to put a piece of board or something underneath it so that whenever you penetrate this, it's not just going to collapse on you, and it's not going to let your hole saw track and move to a different spot. Don't cut on your face side first. Always start on the back side that's not visible. And once you finish, you got a lot of these hairs on here. You can get this little tool called a reaming tool. A lot of plumbers and people that work with PVC have these things. And all you essentially do is take it. It has a swivel head on it. You just rotate it around and it gives you a nice clean edge. And there you go. You just use this little reaming tool, go around in a circle. It has a swivel head on it and it gives you a nice clean product when you are done. Clear all the way around. Now, we got the mounting block up. We got our Novex J box in the back. We have our 3 wires, our ground, our white, and our hot. So we went from 12 wires down to 3 wires. Just really cleaned it up nice. It's tightened up. Tuck your wires in nice and pretty. Have them facing up in case you do get a little bit of water in there. Grab your finishing screws. Let's get it started. Just enough to where it barely sucks itself in. Okay, I heard that. We'll go over to this side. Make sure you don't let go. You don't want to bend any of the aluminum framing or anything like that. Okay, we got this side started. Let's screw it in until it just barely starts to pull itself in. Okay. And there you have it, guys. That's how you install an exterior wall lantern beside your garage door. All right, beautiful. There we go. Thank you all for watching. That's how you install an exterior wall lantern on the side of your garage. It kind of incorporated a little bit of everything. I hope you all learned something. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. See you in the next video.